Before we begin, it's important to be clear about one thing. England is not one of the most dangerous countries in the world. Compared to places like Mexico or parts of South America, it's generally much safer. However, no country is completely crime-free, and England has its own areas where the risk of violent crime is significantly higher than average. This video looks at the 10 most dangerous places to live in England, based purely on violent and serious crimes, not quality of life. We start with Merseyside, covering Liverpool and surrounding areas in northwest England. Known for its vibrant music scene and maritime history, it may surprise some to see it on the list. However, latest crime figures for the year ending June 2025 show around 111 crimes per 1,000 residents, total recorded crime rate, with ongoing issues related to organized crime, drug-related violence, and high levels of violent offenses. Merseyside continues to face challenges with violence and public order incidents, though overall crime has seen some reductions in recent years due to targeted policing efforts. Next is Northumbria in the far north of England. Famous for Roman landmarks like Hadrian's Wall and historic castles, this area continues to face crime challenges. However, the latest crime figures for the 12-month period ending August 2025, sourced from crimerate.co.uk based on Northumbria police data, show 83 crimes per 1,000 residents, total recorded crime rate, with violence and sexual offenses being the most common at around 33 per 1,000 daytime population. This is lower than many northern hotspots like Cleveland, 122 plus, but still elevated due to its proximity to major transport routes like the A1 and borders with Scotland, contributing to issues with theft, public order offenses, 7.77 per 1,000, shoplifting, 11 per 1,000, 1.45x national average, and drug-related activity. Recent ONS bulletins, example year ending June 2025, note national rises in some categories like shoplifting, but Northumbria has seen targeted policing efforts, including a new 2025-29 police and crime plan focusing on safer streets. Despite its reputation for cultural attractions and scenic countryside, this area ranks high in recent crime stats. The latest figures for the year ending March 2025 per ONS data show approximately 94 crimes per 1,000 residents, total recorded offense rate, a 10% increase from the previous year and the highest since 2007. This is driven by rises in theft, violence without injury, public order offenses, and antisocial behavior, particularly in urban centers like Bristol, though improved crime recording practices and increased reporting confidence contribute to the elevated figures. Recent targeted policing, including extra patrols, has aimed to address hotspots. Humberside covers parts of Yorkshire and Lincolnshire, including urban centers like Hull, Grimsby, and Scunthorpe. Often overlooked nationally, the area has seen persistent issues with violent offenses and arson. The latest figures, year ending June 2025, per ONS and crimerate.co.uk data, show a total recorded crime rate of around 76 crimes per 1,000 residents, though some earlier estimates placed it higher, with violence and sexual offenses the most common category at about 34 per 1,000 daytime population. Criminal damage and arson remain elevated at 39% above the national average. Behind the statistics lies deeper ground reality. High levels of deprivation and poverty in places like Hull, one of the UK's most deprived cities, fuel county lines drug networks, where urbanized gangs from larger cities exploit vulnerable adults and children through cuckooing, taking over homes as dealing bases. This leads to spikes in drug-related violence, weapon seizures, including machetes, and associated crimes like robbery and burglary to fund addictions. Recent operations, such as February 2025 raids seizing over 1.3 million pounds in cannabis plants across Hull, Grimsby, and Scunthorpe, highlight ongoing gang activity. While proactive policing like Operation Galaxy has disrupted networks and reduced some overall crime trends slightly, residents in hotspots report under the radar intimidation, exploitation, and fear that official figures don't fully capture. The West Midlands, centered around Birmingham, is one of England's most populous regions. It has faced ongoing criticism for policing challenges, including underreporting and resource strains, alongside high levels of gang activity. The latest figures, as of November 2025, per Plumplot and West Midlands police data, show a total recorded crime rate of around 103.5 crimes per 1,000 residents, down slightly from previous years, but still marking it as a hotspot for serious crimes, including knife offenses and robberies, with violent crimes comprising about 39.4% of all reported incidents, and the regional rate at 115% of the national average. Behind the statistics lies a deeper ground reality, entrenched poverty and deprivation in areas like Birmingham's inner city neighborhoods and suburbs such as Smethwick fuel organized gang networks involved in county lines drug trafficking, where vulnerable youths, often groomed as young as 12, are exploited for drug running, leading to cycles of knife-enabled violence, robberies, and intimidation not always captured in official stats. Recent incidents, like the December 2025 police chase involving machetes and knives during an armed moped robbery, or the vicious gang robbery at a music studio that same month, resulting in lengthy prison sentences, underscore persistent threats despite praised reductions. Knife crime down 17%, knife-enabled robberies by 25%, and overall robberies by 18% in 2025 due to operations like Project Guardian and increased weapon seizures. Residents in hotspots report unreported, hidden exploitation, fear of retaliation, and community distrust of police, exacerbating the cycle. London's inclusion may not surprise many. As England's largest city, it tops many lists for both opportunities and risks. The latest figures, year ending March 2025, per ONS and Statista data, show around 106.4 crimes per 1,000 residents, total recorded crime rate, a slight increase from 105.8 the previous year, with violent crimes, including knife offenses, comprising a significant portion at about 26.4 violence against the person offenses per 1,000 population, below the national average but still elevated in hotspots. Gang activity and robberies continue to spread from inner boroughs like Westminster and Camden into outer suburbs such as Croydon and Enfield, though recent data indicates reductions in overall theft, down 13%, and knife crime, down 7%, due to targeted operations. Behind the statistics lies a deeper ground reality. Entrenched inequality and deprivation in diverse neighborhoods fuel sophisticated, organized crime networks, particularly in phone thefts. London dubbed the world's phone theft capital, with devices representing 70% of all thefts, often snatched by moped gangs and smuggled to China via dismantled syndicates responsible for up to 40% of incidents. Hidden issues include underreported county lines exploitation, where urban gangs groom vulnerable teens for drug running, leading to unreported intimidation, fraud, and violence not fully captured in stats. Immigration-related crimes like illegal working in retail exacerbate shoplifting by organized groups, creating an endless battle for high street businesses amid community distrust and low prosecution rates for minor offenses. Recent crackdowns, such as October 2025 raids recovering thousands of stolen items and arresting teenage gang members for conspiracy to rob, highlight progress but underscore persistent fears of retaliation and hidden exploitation in underpoliced areas. South Yorkshire includes Sheffield, Rotherham, Doncaster, and Barnsley. The region continues to struggle with gang violence, drugs, and serious assaults. The latest figures, year ending August 2025, per crimerate.co.uk and ONS aligned data, show approximately 87 crimes per 1,000 residents, total recorded crime rate, with violence and sexual offenses the most prevalent at around 35 to 42 per 1,000 daytime population, about 118% of the national average, though recent ONS reports note significant reductions in several key categories compared to prior years. Behind the statistics lies a deeper ground reality. Persistent deprivation in former industrial towns like Doncaster and Rotherham drives entrenched county lines drug networks, where organized gangs exploit vulnerable children and adults through grooming, debt bondage, and cuckooing, taking over homes as drug bases via coercion or intimidation, often targeting those with addictions or isolation. This fuels cycles of unreported violence, weapon-enabled assaults, and exploitation that official figures undercapture due to fear of retaliation and community distrust. While proactive operations have led to reductions in some crimes and over 25,000 arrests across South Yorkshire in 2025, residents in deprived hotspots report ongoing hidden threats from gang intimidation and drug-related harm, exacerbated by the national push against county lines, but still far from resolved. Greater Manchester encompasses Manchester, Salford, Bolton, Oldham, and Rochdale. Despite improvements in recording practices and recent policing reforms, it records high levels of violence and theft. The latest figures, year ending June 2025, based on ONS and Greater Manchester Police data, show approximately 118 crimes per 1,000 residents, total recorded crime rate, with violence against the person accounting for around 38 to 40% of offenses, elevated compared to national averages, though overall crime has fallen by about 8 to 10% in recent years, including notable reductions in burglary, down 21%, robbery, 16%, and knife crime, 13%, due to targeted operations. Behind the statistics lies a deeper ground reality. Entrenched deprivation in urban areas like parts of Salford, Oldham, and central Manchester sustain organized county lines drug networks where gangs exploit vulnerable children and adults through grooming, debt bondage, and cuckooing, forcibly taking over homes as dealing bases, often involving coercion and hidden violence. This drives unreported intimidation, weapon-enabled assaults, and cycles of exploitation that official figures undercapture due to victims' fear of retaliation and low trust in authorities. Recent 2025 operations, such as Program Challenger intensification weeks, leading to dozens of arrests, drug seizures worth hundreds of thousands, and safeguarding of vulnerable individuals, have disrupted lines and closed operations exploiting children. But residents in hotspots report persistent hidden threats from gang activity, including shifts towards phone snatching for profit amid softer perceived penalties, underscoring that while headline crime drops, the impact of organized crime remains profound in affected communities. Coming in at number 2 is West Yorkshire, one of the most heavily policed regions in the UK, thanks to its long-standing battle with high crime levels. Major cities like Leeds and Bradford remain at the forefront of challenges involving knife crime and organized gangs. The most recent figures, 12 months ending September 2025, from crimerate.co.uk and police data, but the overall crime rate at around 99 crimes per 1,000 residents, with violence and sexual offenses making up over 40% of reports, often running at 152% of the national average for that category. But the real story goes far beyond the official numbers. Deep-rooted deprivation in urban and former industrial areas keeps county lines' drug networks thriving. Gangs, often based in bigger cities, groom and exploit vulnerable children and adults, trapping them in debt bondage or forcibly cuckooing their homes to use as drug bases. This creates a shadow world of intimidation, machete attacks, and unreported violence, fueled by fear of retaliation and a breakdown in trust between communities and authorities. On the front line, West Yorkshire Police's Operation Gemlock continues to deliver results. By late 2025, the specialist team had seized over 3,000 dangerous weapons since 2019 and made more than 14,000 arrests. Recent intensification weeks saw hundreds more arrests, weapon sweeps, and disruptions. A new dedicated county lines task force, backed by £1.3 million government funding, has already led to dozens of arrests, line closures, cash and drug seizures, and the safeguarding of vulnerable people across the region. These efforts have driven down some categories, like knife-enabled robberies, but for residents in the hardest-hit neighborhoods, the daily reality of gang influence, youth exploitation, and hidden threats still casts a long shadow. Progress is real, yet the fight against organized crime here feels far from over. Topping the list as the most dangerous place to live in England and Wales is Cleveland, home to towns like Middlesbrough, Hartlepool, Stockton-on-Tees, and Redcar. The numbers speak for themselves. The latest official statistics, year ending March 2025, record around 122 crimes per 1,000 residents, by far the highest rate in the country. Violent crime dominates the figures, while criminal damage and arson are often 2 to 3 times the national average, especially in Middlesbrough. But the real story runs much deeper than the headlines. Cleveland suffers from some of the worst deprivation in England. Middlesbrough consistently ranks near the very bottom of the index of multiple deprivation, with large swaths of neighborhoods classified as highly deprived. This long-term economic struggle has created fertile ground for organized crime gangs and county lines drug operations. Gangs exploit vulnerable people, often children as young as 12, or adults with addictions, through grooming, debt bondage, and cuckooing, where dealers forcibly take over someone's home to use as a base. The result is a hidden wave of intimidation, knife crime, arson used as retaliation or fraud, and open drug dealing on streets that residents feel powerless to challenge. Many incidents go unreported because of fear of reprisals and a lingering distrust of authorities. Police initiatives like the Clear, Hold, Build scheme have brought localized improvements and disrupted some networks, but for many living in the hardest-hit areas, the daily reality of gang influence, antisocial behavior, and poverty-driven crime remains a heavy burden. Cleveland isn't just statistically the most dangerous. For too many residents, it still feels that way on the ground. One thing stands out clearly. Most of these areas are in the north of England. Why this pattern exists is a much bigger conversation, involving poverty, drugs, policing, and long-term neglect. Crime levels change over time, and many of these places are working hard to improve. But for now, these are the areas where residents face the highest risk of serious crime. Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, subscribe, comment, and turn on notifications for more UK-focused content.